Inside LMG. Interviews, how-tos, news, and insights into Lee Marketing Group.
Hey, I'm Luke Robinson. I'm one of the personalities for R&B Media. I also handle some of the advertising and just try to do whatever I can for them, to be honest with you. I've really enjoyed working with R&B Media. Started back in, I believe, 2008, really just sort of a contract job. It wasn't even a job at first. It was my going to work on some of the radio stations. It was my going to work on some of the radio shows and TV shows that Randy and Brett had begun, and they recruited me as an Alabama fan to kind of balance things out because they are a little bit more Auburn-centric, and boy, I really balanced them out pretty good, I would say. My brother Austin and I started working with them, and it worked out very well. We've really enjoyed it, and it's turned into something that has just grown and grown, and Randy and Brett have done a fabulous job of making sure that this gets bigger and bigger, as we've also become the AHSA radio network, which has been just unbelievable to work with. The AHSA in general is a first-class organization, and we are really proud of what we've done with the AHSA and what the AHSA has done as a whole. But as far as R&B Media goes, it's been really, it was a dream of mine to work in this type of industry, and frankly, I might just not have known it. And thankfully, Randy and Brett, they came to me and talked to me about this, and I was very reluctant at first to even get involved with it. I have a full-time job here at Robinson Iron, which I'll talk about in a second, and I just didn't think being on air would be something that I would enjoy doing, or I was just nervous about it, to be frank. And you know what? I think it turned out okay. I've loved it. I know that a lot of people have differing opinions from mine, and I think that's okay too. I always like to hear what other people have to say, but it's worked really well, and we've come up with other new shows that have done fantastically, and we've sort of created our own niche here in the Lake Martin area and really all over the state. And I think Randy and Brett and myself, we're very proud of that, along with Scott Hardy and Michael Forehand, Justin Clayton, Justin Mosley. The list goes on and on of people who help us make this thing what it is. What I do here at Robinson Iron, I am the marketing manager as well as the sales manager. Robinson Iron is my family business, and it's a company that specializes in restoring or recreating or just new creations of cast metals, specifically iron, aluminum, and bronze. And we are very famous for working on very large fountains. That is probably what people know us most for. Of course, another thing they may know us for is working on the restoration of the Vulcan statue in Birmingham, but we've worked on projects in Canada. We have sent fountains to Romania. I just sent one to Mexico not long ago, sent one to a bronze cast fountain to Walt Disney World here recently. So we have done projects all over the United States, all over the world really, and we've created a great brand for ourselves, and we really love what we do. My brother is here, Austin. My father, Ricky Robinson, is still the president of this company. Scott Howell is the general manager and vice president. He has been here since the inception of the company. He helped found the company, and his son John is also here with us. So we are truly a family business, and that is something that I can't stress enough. We have a lot of fantastic employees that have been incredibly loyal to us, and we try to be loyal to them. And we hopefully are going to keep going for years and years and continue to be this family business that we've created. And it's been a lot of fun. We get to do some incredibly interesting projects. I would highly recommend everybody go check out RobinsonIron.com as well as our Facebook page. Just search for Robinson Iron, and I try to update that as frequently as possible. I got involved in writing really back in high school. I went to a private high school in Birmingham, Indian Springs School, and it didn't have a football team. I played basketball, so that's really all I did was play basketball and go to school. I lived on campus, which created a very unique environment, and that was a lot of fun. It was a little bit scary at times, but one thing that Indian Springs stresses is creative freedom, and my way of expressing that was through my writing, and I really got involved in that. I was a little different than everybody else when it comes to that regard. Mine wasn't quite as highly intellectual. I tried to focus more on humor, and I think it worked for me. I think in writing, what you want to do is whatever your personality is you want to put that on the paper, and that's what I try to do. I've been very fortunate. I started writing for the Alexander City Outlook in 2008. Again, that was something that just sort of fell into my lap, and I started doing that on a weekly basis, and I've been doing it a Tuesday column every week since 2008, and I've really enjoyed that. That was parlayed into a writing job with Lake Martin Living, which I've also enjoyed. It's more of a slice of life type thing. And then my wife, Krista Conlon, got me involved with B Metro, publication out of Birmingham, which is very well read, and I've certainly enjoyed that a lot. It's a different perspective, and it's been a lot of fun to work with all the great people at B Metro. And so I've done that. I've also worked with a site called Crimson Country Club. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a big Alabama fan, and back in around 2006, some friends of mine started an Alabama website, and they wanted to do something different that wasn't quite as rough around the edges as some of the other websites, and try to keep it very small. And we have about 300 or so members, and I've been writing for them as well as doing a podcast for Crimson Country Club called Talking Tuscaloosa that my good friend Jimmy Stein had been doing for about 2 years now, and really enjoyed that. My favorite part of sports broadcasting has to be the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game, and I love that every single year. And my favorite part of that specifically is interviewing the players before the game. I still remember interviewing Ryan Anderson, number 22 for Alabama right now, who is absolutely killing it, having a great senior year. And he came from Daphne High School. I interviewed him in Montgomery, and I remember his swaying back and forth, and he had this killer look in his eyes the whole time I was interviewing him. I was actually scared. I thought, okay, this is the kind of guy you want on your team because he intimidates you even when you're interviewing him. I can't imagine what it's like to go up against him in practice or in a game. But we have had the pleasure to call some incredible games over there, and we've been able to call people like Jameis Winston. I mean, Heisman Trophy winners like Jameis Winston. Jeremy Johnson, who at the time was incredible. He didn't turn out to be the best player at Auburn, but at the time he was something to watch. TJ Yeldon, who ended up being a high draft pick. Reuben Foster. The list goes on about the guys, Rashawn Evans, that we have called in this game. And to me, that's my favorite time of year, is to call that game. I also enjoy the finals in basketball. That is a real grind. We will do 8 games in a day, and it's kind of like walking into a cave and you don't really know the way out sometimes. And when you come out, it may be 9 o'clock the next morning, and you don't even remember the last 12 hours. But it is a labor of love. There's no doubt about that, and I thoroughly enjoy it. We've just had a blast calling all of those. But I have fun doing the scoreboard show, which I do every Friday night, and I've had fun doing the Saturday Sports Countdown, the Sports Blitz live shows. We've interviewed some incredibly big names, and just it's amazing how many times you just pick up the phone or contact somebody via Twitter, and they'll respond no matter how famous they are. They will respond, and they'll get on the air with you. We've interviewed Paul Feinbaum. We've interviewed Reese Davis. We've had some really big names on this program, and it's been just a lot of fun to get them, and it humanizes them. I've never looked at Paul Feinbaum the same since we had him on our program. I definitely think advertising with R&B Media is a fantastic way to go. Look, we get a lot of viewers. We have a lot of connections here in this area and really around the state. And we have increased our brand so much, we feel like we can increase your brand as well. There's no doubt about it. We put a lot of extra time into trying to sell your product via social media, which is something we've really caught on to here lately. We've enjoyed that a lot. We have found a lot of avenues to help with social media. Meanwhile, all of our television programs, so many live mentions we give. Radio programming, same thing. We enjoy what we do, and we try to really have a passion for the folks that advertise with us. I buy from the folks that advertise with us. I tell other folks to do the same, and I don't do it because because they advertise with us. I want them to advertise with us because I'm probably going there anyway because I love their product, or I love their food, I love their service, and so we try to relay that to the folks that are watching and listening to us that, yes, look, these are advertisers in a sense, but they're also friends of ours that we want to advertise for.